Hi everyone, it's Lindy on here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I thought we'd make this fun little easel card. We're going to be using some stamps and dies from the Lawn Fawn collection. So let's go ahead and get started. So for stamps, we're going to be using the little tub, all of the bubbles, the bubble bath, the mama duck and the baby, and then a couple of those sentiments there. And this is from the Rub-a-Dub-Dub stamp and die set. Now we're also going to be using that little towel. We're going to be using that as a rug today, and that's from the On the Beach stamp and die set. And for paper, we're using the Strathmore Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock. I've gone ahead and placed the stamps and that paper in my Misti, and we're going to use the Versafine Onyx black ink to do our stamping. This is a permanent black ink. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp all of these images. Now for coloring, I'm using turquoise green, light blue, pink, and light pink. And these are the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. And I'm going to be adding the lightest color first, and then I'm coming in with the darker shade, and I'm just going to pull that in towards the center. And I'm going to do every other one in the turquoise, and then every other one in the light pink. So I'm going to do the same thing with the pink. Just adding a little bit of that darker color to each side and pulling in towards the center. And I'm using my blender pen to do that. This is a Zig blender pen. And you could also use a water brush here. Now with blue-gray, I'm going to color in the little tub. So again, these are water-based markers, and they will blend with either this blender brush or a water brush, so either one would work just fine. And it has this fine detail tip on these particular markers, so they're really easy to use and easy to get into these little tight areas here. So I'm going to add the darkest color all the way around the edges and then a little bit up underneath the lip of the tub there. And I'm going to just blend those in towards the center, keeping the center the lightest. Now if you get a little too much ink on your pen, you can clean it off on scrap paper. And when you go to change colors, you'll want to clean it off as well. And to do that, you just scribble it onto some scrap paper until it goes clear. And if you get a little too much ink, you can just go back and forth, lifting off that ink and scribbling it on your scrap paper. And here I'm just adding some shadows up underneath there. Now with orange and scarlet red, I'm going to do the little beak on both of these little ducks here. I'm adding a little bit of that scarlet red right up towards the top there, and then pulling it out towards the tip of their beaks. Now for using bright yellow and yellow, I'm going to do the little duck here. Now I just want to say that I'll just show you the coloring on one because I did both of these the exact same way. So I'm just adding that lighter color first, then the darker color, and pulling in towards the center. And with the little critters, I like to use more of a circular motion. It gives it a little bit more of the look of feathers or fur. And it's easier to move that ink around if you kind of go in towards the edges with a circular motion and then start pulling the ink in towards the middle. And then I'm going to add a little bit of light pink to the cheeks here and just blend that in a little bit. Now with light pink, pink, and light blue, I'm going to color in the bubbles. So you could just use the light blue here if you want to. Just add the light blue and then blend that out. But I'm going to add a little bit of the light pink, and then I'm going to blend those two first. I wanted to get that kind of iridescent-y look that you get from the bubbles sometimes. So I decided to add just a couple more colors. And of course, when we combine the pink and the blue there, we get a little bit of that purpley color. Now with this pink, I'm just adding a teeny tiny bit because a little bit of this goes a long way. So just a couple little dots of it, and then I'm going to start pulling it in. And in some cases here, I'm just kind of using almost like a dabbing motion, like an up and down motion, just to kind of move it into the bubble a little bit. And in some cases here, you can see me removing some of the ink. If I'm getting too much, I just go in and remove it. And then I'm coming in with a little bit more of that light blue and just blending those out. So it gives it kind of an interesting little bubbly effect. So with pink, light blue, and turquoise green, I'm going to color in this little bubble bath bottle. And using the same techniques we used before. So just want to mention that all of the supplies that I'm using in today's video are listed below, and they're also listed on my blog, so you can check either place for those. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll also show you a second example of this card where I used it to make a little bit of a birthday card. So I just wanted to show you that this design can be used for really any kind of a card that you want. I did start off just making a baby card, and then I realized it was cute enough to be a birthday card or a thinking of you card. So you can kind of play around with that. And look at the dies that you do have. You can do these easel cards with several different designs. So kind of look through your dies, see what you have. And it's a great way to use some dies that you have in a new way. So here's a closer look at all those images that we just colored in. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab the coordinating dies. I'm going to tape these down with a little bit of purple tape, and then I'm going to run these through my Sizzix Sidekick machine. And these dies will leave just a little bit of a white border all the way around all of these images. And you can see that there. So now with my glitter pen from Lawn Fawn, I'm going to go ahead and do the glittering now because I'm going to add quite a bit of the glitter, and I'm really kind of just pouncing it on, just kind of like dabbing it on, because I don't want to move around that ink that I've already colored. Because again, these are water-based markers, and I'm using a water-based product to do the glittering. So I'm just kind of pouncing it on so that I don't disrupt the blending I've already done. So now I have a standard note card which measures 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I'm taking my outside in stitch cloud stackable die, and I'm taking the largest one. And I'm putting the top of the cloud at the fold on my card. And I'm going to leave a little gap at the top there between the die and the card. And I'm taking my T-ruler because I want to make sure that I line this up straight. And then I'm taking the cut edge of that cloud and putting it just above that fold line. You can see there's a little gap between the die and the top of the card. And I do want to make sure this is nice and straight on the bottom. So again, I'm using the T-ruler just to line everything up. Once I have it in place, I'm going to add a little bit of purple tape just to hold that down. Now we're going to be running this through the die cutting machine. We want to run it through as the closed card. So we're going to be cutting through 2 pieces of cardstock here. We're going to run this through several times, maybe about 4 or 5 times here, just to make sure that I cut through all that paper, because again, remember we have 100-pound cardstock, so it's nice and thick. So you can see now that that created that little hinge at the top of our card. So while I have that large cloud die cut out, I'm going to die cut 2 more of those clouds. So you can see we have everything ready there, the card and the 2 clouds. I'm going to grab one of those, and using my Peacock feathers, Distress Oxide ink, and one of my life-changing brushes, I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of color all the way around this cloud. And I'm dabbing some of the color off onto my glass medium mat before I go onto the cardstock, because again, I don't want any really harsh lines. I want to keep this very light, and I'm just blending in towards the center. I did that all the way around. So now for the inside of the card, so when I open the card, you'll see, and when we set up the easel, you'll see this inside part of the card. So I'm going to mask off the top of the card with a little bit of purple tape, and then I'm going to do the same thing and just go all the way around the edges of this cloud, keeping that center the lightest again. So now I can remove my purple tape, and you can see that up close. To create the score for the easel, I'm going to put the inside of my card face down on my trim and scoreboard. This is from We Are Memory Keepers. And I'm going to score this at 1 1/4 inches. So I'm just going to score that one cloud there, and that'll be on the front of our card. So now I can go ahead and fold that, and I'm going to fold it towards the inside center of the card. And I'm going to use my bone folder to press that crease out. So that's going to create the little easel on the front of our card. So that cloud there will fit right on the front of that panel. So now I want to go ahead and decorate this front panel before I attach everything together. And I want to line these things up. Well, I want to line that tub up with the bottom of the cloud there. But first I'm going to attach together a few of these pieces. So using my Lawn Fawn glue tube, I'm going to attach this little baby duck inside the tub here. And then I'm just adding a little bit of glue to those bubbles, and I'm going to sit that right behind. Now for all of these pieces, I'm going to pop them up. So I'm going to be using my Scotch foam mounting tape, and then I'm going to place the tape all on the back of all of these little items here, just to add a little bit more dimension to this card. So now I can go ahead and remove the backing on the tape. And when I line up the tub, I want to make sure it's lined up right along that stitched edge of the cloud. And so I'm lining up that white border with that stitched edge. Now I can go ahead and add all my other little pieces here. I'm going to add a few little highlights using my Jelly Roll white gel pen. Just adding some highlights here and there on the tub and on the little critters. And then I'm also going to add a little bit to the towel or the rug for the inside of the card. This little rug is going to hold that easel upright. Now I'm taking my Pitt Artist pen in the black. This is the 0.1 millimeter. And I just thought the eyes on these little critters needed a little bit more definition. So I'm just putting a little bit more black there. So now I've taken the card. I've got the inside of the card. So I've opened it up. And I'm trying to determine where that little rug needs to be to hold this easel upright. So you want to play around with that a little bit, just sliding it around so you get the right positioning for your easel. And then once you've determined that, I'm going to go ahead and tape this down. This will help me determine where my sentiment is going to be. So I'm going to take that one that says Rub-a-Dub-Dub, a new baby to love, and that little heart as well. I'm going to put the heart between these two sentiments here. I'm going to add the heart in a second. It's still just so tiny and hard to handle. I thought it'd be easier if I just put those stamps down first and then add the heart to the center. Now what I want to do is kind of line those up along the edges of this rug because it kind of has a little bit of a curve to it. So I'm going to give a little curve to these this sentiment as well, just to kind of go along with that, the curve on that rug. This just takes a second or two. You can just kind of play around with those and move things around. And then going back to my Versafine Onyx Black ink, now I can remove that little rug and I can do my stamping. And I got a little bit of ink there on the lid, so you want to make sure you clean that off because we don't want any to get on the inside of the card here. So that's what you see me doing there. I just have a paper towel and I'm just wiping away that excess ink. So now we have our sentiment for the inside of the card. Now I had that extra, we had those two extra clouds. This one that is just plain that we didn't add any color to. I'm taking my Tombow glue tape And I'm just going to position this right underneath that other one. I just want to give a little bit more substance to the base of this card, because this is going to be holding up that easel. So all I'm doing is just gluing these two together. And that's also going to finish off the top of the card in the back and give it that rounded top on the cloud. So we're just kind of hiding that little hinge there. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of pink to that heart on the inside, and I'm going to add a little bit of glitter to that as well. And you do want to make sure you let that dry before you close the card here. So now I'm going to add some Scotch foam mounting tape, and I've doubled it up here, so I've got two pieces, one stacked on top of the other, to create the little easel, the little piece that's going to hold that easel upright. So I'm positioning that over the sentiment just the way we lined it up here. And now we can attach the front panel to our card. So we want to add adhesive from the score line down. So I'm going to go ahead and place some tape all over that again, from the score line down to the bottom of the card. And I did run out of tape there, so I'm just grabbing another little tape runner here, and I'm going to finish that off. And I'm going right along that score line. And now I can go ahead and attach this cloud to the front panel. Just lining those up. And then just make sure you press everything into place here. So now you can see we have this cute little easel card. And I just think these are so much fun. There's just a lot of possibilities with this. And you can see it from the side there. And what's fun about this would even make a cute little decoration for a baby's room as well. You could sign the bottom, or you could sign on the inside on the upper half here. If you're going to sign the bottom, you may want to do that before you put that extra cloud, before you attach it. And then here you can see I did this as a little birthday card. It's your day, relax and enjoy. So it's kind of a fun little, I feel like it's a gift as well, because I think it's something that you could keep out and display. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at pinkwhisperdesigns.com. And I hope you're all staying happy and healthy. And I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.